So, Paul, have you been reading pretty much your whole life?
Oh man, yeah. I say all the time, I grew up in Middle Earth. I grew up in Narnia. I grew up with Louisa May Alcott. I just watched that new miniseries of Little Women. It was pretty good. But those are the people I grew up with. Those are the places I grew up. Trixie Belden.
Oh yes.
Love me some Trixie Belden.
That was one of my favorites.
And now that I kill people, I feel Trixie would be proud of me.
Well, now remember, they didn't kill anybody. Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, they would find bodies.
I bet in her older age she did.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure. She liked mystery.
I started reading, I think it was about 4 when I could actually already start to read on my own. And we had a weekly reader book club that I got books in the mail. And I come from a family of readers. My mother and father are both voracious readers. And so there were always tons of books in our house. And my mom was always really cool. Like, not only did we go to the library, but the bookstore. And sometimes if she would buy us a candy bar, I would say, could I have the money instead? And she'd say yes, because she knew I was saving it up to buy books.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my gosh. And the school book fairs.
Oh, I got my first, must have been 2nd or 3rd grade, because it was when I went to Westerville Elementary. They had a school book fair, and I picked up an autobiography the first year of Helen Keller.
Yes.
And then the second year I picked up her autobiography. And when I moved over to the Wattsburg School District, they had a visually impaired student. So they had someone come in once a week to work with her, and found out through one of the teachers that I really loved it. And so for an entire year, he and I pen palled in Braille. He loaned me a Slayton stylus. And, you know, he was very generous, because I'm sure I screwed up a lot. But he could get the gist of my things.
And what you were trying to say.
Right. And in the last video, I talked about the first book I sold to Slow Romance was Do You Hear What I Hear? The daughter was hearing impaired. And I took some ASL, American Sign Language classes, because of Helen. And so when I added this hearing impaired daughter, I really worked hard to
make it accurate.
To make it accurate, not off-putting, because ASL is an entire different syntax
language,
than English.
Right.
So it had to be close enough to English that if you were reading it, you wouldn't find it off-putting.
Put off, right.
But it had to be close enough to ASL that if somebody hearing impaired was reading it, I didn't want them to be annoyed with me either. So I walked the line, and one of my early proud moments as a writer was somebody who worked at a school for the hearing impaired read the book and sent me a lovely letter, actual physical letter, not an email, and said
that was back in the old days.
But said that she was so pleased with how accurately I did it.
Great.
She felt I walked that line okay.
That's awesome. I liked biographies as a kid too, and I remember reading one that was the story of the first open heart surgery, which was pretty cool. And dolphins, books about dolphins, and Charlotte's Web. I loved Charlotte's Web.
I love Charlotte's
Web. But I just love books and have for a long, long time. And
now, did you went to the library? I lived out in the county.
Yes.
I went to the bookmobile.
Oh, where I lived in New Jersey, we had a bookmobile as well that would come out to the neighborhood, like where I lived. Right. And so we had that, but we also would go to the local branches. I remember every summer I was that kid that like whooped everybody in the summer reading contest.
Oh, hey, one of my proudest moments in middle school, she had, you read whatever you wanted, you wrote a short report, and she would grade you. Well, I did enough books in the first few weeks that I had my A guaranteed. So she made me a bet that I had to read like 3 times what anybody else had to read to get an A, but if I did it, she'd buy me books.
Ooh,
I still have it. Rabbit Hill, Robert Lawson, and a second one, the same author. So I got 2 of them, and she signed them, and they're still on my shelf. So.
That's very cool. Yeah, I have some old favorites. I also then, when I started started to become a teenager was when I started reading science fiction. And I started into science fiction first because of Star Trek, and actually one of the first Star Trek books I personally owned came from a library, and they were pulling it from the collection, and the librarian gave it to me, and I still have it. I still have that book.
Oh, I think those librarians like that, the guys in the bookmobile, knew what I liked and would often bring a book and just keep it behind the desk for me when I came. But or a teacher who sees that you've got this passion and hands you something else to read, I think those make such a profound impact on kids. When I wrote Carry Your Heart, the heroine in it becomes a children's author, and for me, it made sense. Speaking to kids, I still love kids' books.
Oh yeah.
The minions that hang around me, Mo Willems has a series about the Knuffle Bunny.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh, Knuffle Bunny. The first one, Trixie loses her Knuffle Bunny at the laundromat. The second one, Trixie's a little older and takes Knuffle Bunny to school, and Sonia has a Knuffle Bunny too. It's a problem. And the third one was on back order forever. We just got it a couple weeks ago, and Trixie's older, and it's about just Knuffle Bunny goes his own way. Yeah, and it was like I tear up every time I read the end of that third book. Every single time I read it to the minions, I tear up because it's like
I Love You Forever.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's it.
Yeah. That one always gets me. I think some of the very best literature is written for kids. It really is, and that's. I've always said that was one of my favorite things about being a teacher was passing on my passion and love of books to kids, and reading aloud to them every day, and having dear time every day, and just watching them get sucked into a story to the point that they were in tears.
And that is, I'm back in school, so I was up at school, and I was talking to one of the girls who was an education major and was doing a student teaching at one of the schools, and we were talking about books. And if you haven't checked out Iggy Peck Architect, Ada Twist Scientist, and Rosie Revere Engineer, they're STEM books, strong heroines in 2 of them for little girls. And I said, I love these books. If you're working with that kindergarten and first grade, the minions love these books. They're just such a nice age for them. Cool. So she did Iggy Peck Architect, and she said after we read it, we made our own buildings. We made our own blueprints, and we talked about that. They were great books, and I'm so enthusiastic about them because they were just such great books to get kids interested in science. And I named a cat Schrodinger book. I love science.
Absolutely.
So I was